Então, mais uma vez, nós estamos aqui em nome da Sociedade Internacional de Neuro-Semânticas e também da Sociedade Brasileira de Neuro-Semântica. Nosso tema hoje aqui, com muita satisfação, é como transformar desafios em oportunidades com a Neuro-Semântica. Pense, lidere e vença. Então, um dos nossos objetivos é trazer o Dr. Michael para que vocês possam conhecê-lo. O Dr. Michael tem uma relevância muito grande internacional, entretanto, no Brasil, a gente está fazendo um trabalho para que ele também tenha essa mesma relevância. Trazer também esse tema que é muito importante no dia a dia nosso, ok? Eu vou começar fazendo alguns enquadramentos para vocês. Vamos lá. Então, naturalmente, o nosso evento ele é em inglês, como as pessoas que estão aqui já puderam perceber. Nós estamos tendo tradução simultânea. Qualquer dificuldade que vocês tenham, por favor, coloquem no chat, tá ok? Para você configurar a sala, né, o espaço onde você possa entrar com o português, é só selecionar os 3 pontinhos ou um globinho. Se aparecer um globo, você clica no globo. Se não, vai nos 3 pontinhos e busque lá interpretação, ok? Clica lá e selecione o idioma, ou inglês ou português, conforme for melhor para você, tá ok? As perguntas durante a fala, né, elas vão estar sendo colocadas no chat, ok? Elas podem ser em português, inglês ou espanhol. O Dr. Michael vai responder tantas quantas forem possíveis, ok? Vamos pedir para que vocês mantenham os seus microfones fechados durante a apresentação e, na medida do possível, que vocês deixem as câmeras abertas para que nós possamos nos sentir conectados também, ok? Estava falando para vocês, então, sobre a neurosemântica. A neurosemântica, ela é internacional, ela está presente atualmente em mais de 70 países. Eu trouxe aqui, assim como nós temos o nosso instituto aqui no Brasil, que é a Sociedade Brasileira de Neurosemântica, que é a presença da neurosemântica aqui, nós temos institutos aí em mais de 11 países também. Por exemplo, Ilhas Maurícios, África do Sul, o Egito, Oriente, a na África do Norte também, Estados Unidos, na Latina América. Só um pouquinho que alguém está. Aqui no Brasil, a Escandinávia, Austrália, Hong Kong, China, Malásia, assim como na Malásia está representando aí Filipinas, Índia, Singapura, Tailândia e Vietnã. Além desses, tem também na Indonésia. Só para vocês terem uma dimensão da onde a neurosemântica está presente, ok? No Brasil, nós temos aqui, essas são as pessoas que estão à frente da Sociedade Brasileira de Neuro-Semântica. Nós já estamos no Brasil desde 2012, nós estamos aqui. Dr. Michael costuma vir ao Brasil para fazer fazer treinamento. Antes da pandemia ele vinha todos os anos, agora não está vindo com a mesma frequência, mas estamos iniciando essa jornada para trazê-lo com mais frequência. Então, e ele está aqui hoje para falar para nós sobre o tema como transformar desafios em oportunidades com a neurosemântica. Pense, lidere e vença. Falando um pouco do Dr. Michael, ele é psicólogo, ele é PhD em psicologia cognitiva comportamental pela Union Institute University, Cincinnati, Ohio. Ele discursou na Conferência Internacional Interdisciplinar, apresentando uma integração entre a PNL e a neurosemântica. E o Dr. Hall também foi cofundador com o Dr. Bob Bodenheimer na Neuro-Semântica em 1996, né? Uma área que se concentra em significado e performance. Então, é um pouquinho sobre isso que a gente vai estar conversando aqui hoje também. Ele também é um escritor prolífico. Dr. Hall escreveu mais de 70 livros, outros 30 livros em série, mais de 100 artigos. Ele publica toda semana 3 artigos, sendo que um deles é para os metacoaches, outros são para os treinadores de neurosemântica e um é para o público em geral. Quem quiser ter acesso a esses artigos, por favor, entre em contato conosco lá no grupo que a gente explica como fazer. Ele também é criador do modelo de meta-estado, do modelo da matriz, dos eixos da mudança e, mais recentemente, do modelo de meta-place, que ele vai depois, se tiver alguma dúvida, ele pode esclarecer um pouco mais, ok? Então, eu quero deixar aqui com vocês, sem mais delongas, o Dr. Michael Hall.
Okay. Okay, I am pleased and honored to present Dr. Michael Hall and Geraldine Hall, who is going to talk to us about this theme, which is the transformation of challenges into opportunities. Think, lead, and win. So, Dr. Michael Hall, this time is all yours. Our ears are all yours. And welcome to this virtual session in Brazil. Thank you so much for being with us. Okay, the first question. Michael, most of our audience are familiar to neurosemantics. Could you please explain what neurosemantics and why it is so powerful to transform challenges into opportunities?
Okay, so if you ask me what neurosemantics is, it is a model for how to bring a lot of meaning into your performances so that your performances can be moving to high performance in whatever you're doing. Because meanings, we separate into 3 levels of meanings. The first level is understanding what you're doing, what the subject is, how it works. That'd be how-to knowledge. The second form of meaning is significance. Is it significant? Is it valuable? That leads to the values that you're trying to actualize. And the third would be meaningfulness, which gives us a sense of purpose and destiny, direction in life. So when you add rich meaning to your performances, then your performances can be the highest level of performance that you can perform with your skills, your competencies at this given time.
Okay, and if this is the core of neurosemantics, how is it so powerful to transform challenges into opportunities? How can we do this in daily?
Well, whether you call something a challenge or an opportunity, a problem or an opportunity, is your linguistics. It's the language that you use. It's the meanings that you give. The meaning you give will be the quality of the life that you live. And if people don't know how to control their language, control the meanings that they attribute to whatever happens, then they're not in control of their lives. Circumstances and whatever the cultural meanings that they've inherited will be controlling them. So in neurosemantics, we want to take control of our own lives, of our minds, to give things meanings that will enrich us and empower us. So nothing means anything until a human being, as a meaning maker, contributes meaning to that thing. And if you're a leader, if you're a manager, if you're a parent, if you don't know how to be in charge of the meanings that you give to things, then you're going to be out of control. And you're not going to be in charge of your own life.
Okay. So, Michael, if we use these 3 words that we used in the title, in the theme of this Zoom meeting, which is think, lead, and win, how can we put this in procedure? How can we give better meanings that is not challenging, is difficult, for example, to make our lives better? And then how to think, how to lead ourselves or others. And then we say we win.
Well, it all begins with thinking. Everything in your life is a function of your thoughts. You think your reality, and for you, it's what is real. And so if you're doing poor quality thinking, you're going to have a poor quality life. And thinking is something that most people have not learned how to do well. We call it critical thinking, we call it creative thinking, and we call it executive thinking. And most people have been taught what to think, but not how to think. So it all begins on learning how to think. And there are 7 different kinds of human thoughts using your mind that is actually not thinking, just reacting, being on automatic, doing shallow thinking, borrowed thinking. These are forms of thinking that are actually not thinking. And so they deceive us into, we think we're thinking, but we're just repeating what we've heard. And so to learn how to think, that's the first step, so that you can actually be in charge of your own thoughts. So the question we're always asking, whether it's in coaching, therapy, consulting, what do you think? Is that your thought? Where do you get that thought? So that we can start doing some quality controlling over our thinking and do some high quality thinking.
Okay.
In terms of leading, you can't lead your own self, let alone anybody else, if you're not in control of your own thinking. So leading ourselves or leading someone else is winning the minds and hearts. So have you won your own mind and heart? And can you win the minds and hearts of other people? So that's leadership. Then we can set some goals and set some objectives, and then we can think strategically and set out a plan how to achieve it. And that would be when we're actually winning and succeeding with the goals and the plans that we have.
Mhm. So, is it possible to give some, all of you said, can we put some like steps? Is it possible for us to do this? For first you do this, second.
Well, give me a subject to work with, because
Okay.
we're just talking abstractly right now.
Okay. Right. When you said about poor quality of thinking, Michael, how can we notice that it's poor? Could you describe
Well,
it a little bit for us?
yeah, thinking results in results, consequences. So
Mhm.
if you're not getting the results you want, then you're probably it's at fault of the thinking. How many times do we put our hands to our forehead? What was I thinking? And the answer is, I wasn't thinking. Not really. I was just reacting. I was on automatic. I was just doing what I've always heard people say. And I wasn't really thinking. Thinking is working an idea over in your mind, questioning it, exploring it, challenging it, detailing it, making critical distinctions. That's what true thinking is. And you have to be taught how to do that. That's why we have the training, Thinking for Humans,
Mhm.
teaching people some of the most fundamental thinking skills. And thinking takes a lot of mental work. That's why people avoid it. It's easier to not think. It's easier to be entertained, to passively just open your eyes and whatever you're perceiving, whatever you're hearing, just go with that. instead of taking charge of your mind, taking charge of your brain, and planning what it is that you're wanting to do.
Okay, so as I could understand about what you said, as with it's the main way to turn these challenges into meaningful opportunities. Would be one way to get these meaningful opportunities, changing our
So,
mind.
yeah. So I would say, what's your challenge?
Mhm.
How do you know that's a challenge? It challenges what? Your mind, your emotions, your speech, your behaviors, your relationship. What does it challenge? How much of a challenge is it for you? What skill would you need so that you can take up the challenge and perform and do whatever it is that you're wanting to achieve? So, what's a challenge to one person? Piece of cake. To another person, it's no challenge. They've got the skill, they've got the training, they know how to go about it, the how-to knowledge. So it's no challenge. A challenge is when we get out of our comfort zone and we're pushing our abilities um, beyond where they are right now.
Okay. I've talked and they work for companies. They sometimes say, I don't have time to do everything I need. I'm always in a rush. I am under pressure the whole time. I can't take a vacation. I can't give attention to my family. How can we explain to us what these words mean, and what could you say to us about what we hear people people saying, sorry?
What you just described is a person who's not under control. They're not in control of themselves, of their mind. They've got quite a few cognitive distortions going on. Of course, they have as much time as anybody. It's how they're using it or failing to use it effectively and efficiently. To use your time and your energy effectively, you got to know what you want. And if you're committed to it, and if you're willing to pay the price to achieve that, you can't have it all. That'd be a cognitive distortion. I can have it all. I don't want to say no to any good thing. Well, then you'll be mediocre and you won't achieve much and you'll be stressed out. So, first of all, we've got to decide what is really important to you. And once you make that decision, then making that commitment and then learning the how to, the strategy of how to now organize your time and your energy so it's effective and it's efficient.
Mhm. Leading under pressure is an essential fast-paced world. How can neurosemantics support professionals in developing this crucial capability, leading under pressure?
The capability is what that we want to develop?
Leading under pressure.
Well, I would not recommend leading under pressure.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, get out from under the pressure. What is the pressure? How is it pressure? Who's putting the pressure on you? How are you taking on too many things or not taking care of yourself, not saying no to good things? To live under pressure is a bad strategy. It's not good for your body. It's not good for your mind. Stress is the one key factor that is involved in every illness and every psychosomatic illness. And so anybody who wants to lead under pressure has got the wrong strategy. First of all, change it, lead from a state of calmness and calm and collective, so that you're not operating under pressure. Nobody works well under pressure.
So can we say that pressure, or this concept of pressure, it's a result of our thinking, how I think about what's happening around me or in
For
my
sure.
in my job? Yes.
Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to identify the negative pressure thoughts. I have to, I must, I should, I can't. Those are some of the cognitive distortions that create mental stress, that lead to physical tension, and that undermine your health and well-being. So just to give an illustration from my own life,
Yeah.
for years, I write a book or two books every year. I do a lot of research for each one, a lot of reading, a lot of writing. I write 7 drafts for each book, and I do that while I'm training, while I'm coaching, while I'm doing other things, and I have no sense of pressure.
Mhm.
I have a strategy. I know how to write the book. I know the step-by-step process. I do a little bit every day. It doesn't have to be perfect at any given point. And so I do it without pressure. And actually, I'm more productive by doing it from a calm and relaxed state than doing it under pressure. Pressure does not help anybody to function very well.
Mm-hmm. So you
And
have
so,
just, okay, sorry, go
go
ahead.
ahead.
No, I would say that you have just taught us how to be more productive, more efficient, with calmness, and with the right strategy to do things.
Right,
So, right, we sometimes may know how to do things, but in the wrong state, let's say feeling pressured or
right,
stressed, right? Okay,
right.
okay.
We now know from the studies of flow from Csikszentmihalyi that if you're operating from flow, things will just flow. It'll be easy. It'll be a piece of cake if you operate from flow. As a leader, you can operate from flow. As a manager, from flow. As a parent, as a coach, as a therapist. So getting into the state of flow. Now, when you're in the state of flow, basically you do one thing at a time. What's ruining civilization and cultures, people are multitasking, trying to do more and more and more and more at the same time. We now know from the neurosciences that if you multitask, your comprehension reduces 30% and your memory reduces 30%. It's not a smart way to go about doing anything, trying to do more things. So do one thing at a time, do it well, then move on to the next thing. That would be a strategy for effectiveness and productivity.
Right. Thank you. Geraldine, you always have something to say too. Would you like to add something, Geraldine?
Well, first of all, hello everyone, and really thank you for inviting us in this Zoom meeting. We're delighted to share with you, and especially this kind of thinking for humans. I'm excited about this training because thinking is foundational. A lot of times it goes against culture because it's from outside. What the training that Michael's going to give, regardless of what role you're playing in your life, whatever you're doing, or at whatever point you are in your life, thinking is foundational. And the kind of thinking comes not from outside people telling us what to do, but using really our mind to think more clearly, to think more meaningfully so we can have meaningful lives. And there is a strategy to think. To think well, not just to think. There is a strategy for being more efficient in what we do. And yet, the doing is outside, but it all starts with thinking. That's why, whether it's NLP or neurosemantics or whatever it is, thinking is the foundation of how we live our lives or how we want to live our lives.
Mhm. Great, thank you, Geraldine. So we can make a how can I say this? Evaluation about our lives. And if it's like this, it means our thinking is all this. If our evaluation, our life is good, so it means our thinking capability is good, something like that. Can we say that?
Well, now we go back to your objective.
Objective. Okay.
What are you trying to accomplish?
Mm-hmm.
So just staying busy and just getting more likes on Facebook, what are you living your life for? What's your intention? So in neurosemantics, we always start with what's your goal? Is it well-formed? Is it ecological? Does it bring out your best? And so it all starts with goal. Then the question becomes, how do we get there? And so now strategy in terms of thinking it through and choosing to make a commitment to it, doing one thing at a time. And then we can be effective and efficient in what we're trying to do.
And Michael, there is another theme that I think we may link to everything we have said till now, that's resilience. And I think resilience is also, or the power of the resilience is also linked to our way of thinking. Could you say a
Right.
little bit more about this?
So life is such that we're always going to have setbacks. There's no insurance you can buy that'll prevent a setback, a knockdown. It happens. It happens to everybody. The question is, do you know how to bounce back after a setback? We call that resilience. And if you're in a state of resilience, when life says no to you, you just knock on the next door. If you get knocked down and you get depressed and you get anxious and you get fearful and you get negative and pessimistic, all of that is going to make it worse. So resilience is bouncing back with energy and vitality and optimism. And that's a particular attitude, a particular state of mind and emotion that we promote in neurosemantics. We call it resilience. How to have that resilient spirit and being so resilient that nothing can knock you down. That is a possibility. You'll get the setbacks and the knockdowns, but you don't get knocked down. Your spirit is so robust, so strong, so vital that you just ask, okay, if I can't do it that way, how can I do it? And you take the feedback and you figure out a new way.
Mm-hmm.
And then life becomes a fun adventure. It's all about just solving problems.
Mm-hmm. And how would you say the importance of this ability, capability of resilience for the leadership?
Well, if a
Companies.
leader doesn't have resilience, he or she is not going to be a good model for everybody else, because everybody else is looking to the leader for that spirit of resilience, that spirit of persistence, and bouncing back. And so a leader has to have it, or the person is not a leader.
Mhm.
A leader without resilience is leading people into depression and everything else.
Okay. Thank you. Another question, Leonir, would you like to join me here?
Yes, yes,
Yes?
there is one here. Michael, it's from José Robson Sereno. What is your perception of neurosemantics after the pandemic and global changes? And what is your vision for the future?
Well, the pandemic is a great example of a setback. Most of us had a setback with the pandemic, financially or behaviorally, maybe health-wise, maybe business-wise. It was a setback. Some people got knocked down and they still haven't got back up, bounced back resiliently to reclaim life with vitality and optimism. So they need a lot of resilience. The field of training, coaching, therapy, all of those fields have had a setback due to the pandemic. Why? Because people will spend less money on learning, developing, skill development, coaching, therapy, training. They'll prioritize everything else above those. So those fields have really had a setback. And so it's like we're starting again with some people, helping them to understand the best and most important investment you can make is in yourself, your knowledge, your skills, your attitude. Because if you can invest in yourself and you are a person who is resilient, has creative ideas, you have an entrepreneurial spirit, you'll make things happen. You'll bounce back from that pandemic. Too many businesses, too many leaders, too many managers are operating from the setback because they haven't had the resilience yet. So, yeah, a lot has been set back in those fields. My vision is we teach more and more people resilience so that they can get that spirit and then they will be unstoppable. That's the end result of what we aim for in that training of resilience, that people will be unstoppable. You can't stop them from fulfilling their dreams, their hopes, their visions of what they want their life to be.
Well, now we are living the era of the AI, right? Artificial intelligence. And what's your vision about this and the connection about thinking and resilience and AI?
Well, the problem with AI is too many people are letting AI do their thinking. Now, AI can go and grab content information from all over the world and can bring that content information, but it's not going to be new thinking, fresh thinking, and it's certainly not going to be your thinking. So there's a danger. Just as there's a danger in multitasking today, just as there's a danger of too much media interrupting and disturbing us so that we don't focus on one thing at a time, there's going to be too much dependence upon AI. AI is a tool, great, if it's used by thinking people. But if you are defaulting to let AI do all your thinking, well, you're not going to be exercising your mind, your intelligence, and your creativity. So I would say we need to be cautious about it.
Okay.
That's why, if I may add with what Michael was saying, that's why I love the training. because what's going to enable us to see, are we really thinking? The first time when I attended Michael's training on the thinking for humans, a lot of us in the room were like wondering, are we even using 5% of our brain? And imagine what it's like if we're going to be dependent on AI. Because AI is a tool. It's a good assistant. Assistant, but not as a substitute or a replacement for our thinking. Now, if we are aware and know of our thinking and how we think, then we can decide whatever AI is assisting us with. We are still in charge. Because AI is not in charge of our lives. We are. And for us to be in charge of our lives, whether to be resilient or to be adaptable or to handle challenges, it still comes down to the kind of quality thinking. Now, we cannot change what we're not aware of. In the training, we're going to know how we are actually thinking and how to change it. That will help us, that will enable us to lead more effective lives and meaningful lives for ourselves and for others. We always want to say we want to make a difference. First things first, we got to make a difference in the kind and quality of our thinking.
Great. Thank you, Geraldine. So, Michael and Geraldine, you will be in Brazil in June next month, going to deliver 2 transformational trainings. One of which is this mastery of thinking, thinking for humans. And could you say how you said a lot of thinking, but could you say a little bit more how this training empowers leaders and people in general to cultivate all this strategic mindset, lead high performing teams, and inspire meaningful changes?
Well, that's the key, changes. If things were not changing, then how you have been thinking would be sufficient. But if things are changing, if the world is changing, society is changing, culture is changing, which it is, economics are changing, you got to have thinking people figuring out the best way forward. And that's what thought leaders do. They see opportunities, they figure out strategies and processes, and they do good questioning and doubting and detailing, and that's at the heart of good thinking. It takes good leaders to do creative thinking, to invent the things that haven't been invented yet, that we haven't thought of and created as new innovations. And most businesses have to keep innovating, because as businesses figure out ways to make automatic processes they're already doing, then competitors come in and everything becomes a commodity. And so now we need new innovations. Well, that's going to take creative thinkers. And 5 of the thinking skills we present in the training is on creative thinking. Above that is what we call executive thinking skills. And we have 5 of those thinking skills. The very first one is reflection, being able to be reflective. Where are we? What's going on? What are the trends that's occurring? And how can we prepare ourselves for the future? So the executive thinking skills. So in the field of thinking, there's just a lot of things that we can say and do about that. And helping us to think about our thinking is the beginning point.
Okay. Yeah, we will have 3 days with knowledge about thinking. And the second course is going to be focused on resilience, which you mentioned also. And in your view, why is resilience such a vital quality, not only for leaders, but for individuals? navigating everyday challenges and changes.
So resilience is the leverage point between whether a person is going to go forward or whether they're just going to get stuck in the setback or descend into real pessimism and depression. So I don't know in Brazil, but in the United States, anxiety and depression are the most frequent mental health illnesses that people suffer from. Millions of people suffer. And it's not that they don't have a good lifestyle or a good job or a good family. You can have all of that. You can be a Hollywood movie star and get depressed. So depression is not based upon how much you have or the standards of living that you're living. It's how you're thinking. And if you're not resilient, then life can be very dangerous to you. It can be dangerous to your health because you're not moving forward. And if you're not moving forward, you're probably sinking down into some of that depression and pessimism. You're not going to be any good for you. You're not going to be any good for other people.
It's a big problem in Brazil, here in Brazil too. We have these problems. The statistics are higher and higher with people with mental diseases, really, really dangerous. I would like to ask 2 more questions from people. First one, from Gerson Senna. How does self-reflections help us find states of flow in our journey towards self-actualizations, and to what extent does mastering our thoughts to align with our core goals and values enable us to fully realize our potential?
Well, reflection is how you find your area for enjoying flow. The wonderful thing about flow is you can create flow and experience flow by playing the guitar, by playing tennis, by playing a board game with your kids, by going into the garden and gardening. You can enter into the flow state where you're totally absorbed and engaged in that experience, doing one thing, which makes you a better person. And in that moment, everything goes away and you're just absorbed into the flow experience. So it's not like you have to have a college degree or you have to have so much money or so much status in order to experience flow. People experience flow in all kinds of sports, in all kinds of activities, if they reflect on what's important, what's meaningful, and if they learn the basic skills of how to do it. So reflection will be your pathway into having many things to do that'll put you in that flow state. Now, when you choose what is your highest talent, what you're predisposed to do, that's just built into you, then, and you turn that into flow, work can be turned into flow. Relationships can be turned into flow. Reading can be a flow experience. Writing can be a flow experience. Everything can become a flow experience. It just takes a little bit of understanding how the process works. In Neuro-Semantics, we teach this in the APG training, Accessing Personal Genius training. That training is designed to turn flow on and off at your command.
Okay. Thank you, Michael. One more from teacher Rogério Turgante. What are the difference and similarities between Neuro-Semantics and NLP?
NLP began the adventure of how to run your own brain. And because it came upon many powerful tools to run your own brain, set your frames, influence yourself and others, a lot of people misused it. A lot of people started using it for manipulation. So neurosemantics came in to create NLP 2.0. Our aim and our vision was to raise the quality of the work of NLP, raise the ethics of NLP so that we treat people respectfully and ethically, and to raise the profession. And that's what we've been doing for the past 25 years, raising the quality of NLP. It just so happened that as we were doing that, we came upon the meta-states model, matrix model, etc., so that we have a lot more tools than the field of NLP does for the purpose of managing your own mind.
Okay, thank you. Michael, we would like to talk just a little bit in Portuguese with people about our courses, but if you can wait just a little moment, we come back with you again. Is it okay for you?
Sure.
Ok, thank you. Olá, eu gostaria agora de chamar a Andrea. Como vocês puderam observar, nós, além de tudo que o Michael falou aqui, eles vão estar conosco em junho e nós gostaríamos de fazer uma apresentação rápida, passar algumas informações para vocês também, aqueles que quiserem e que estão interessados em conviver um pouco mais com o Michael, ter a oportunidade de aprender um pouco mais com ele, ok? Só um pouquinho, Andrea, você está aí? Posso abrir para você?
Acho que já abri. Boa noite. Todos me ouvem bem? Espero que sim. Michael, bom demais te ver de novo. Muito bem, gente. Temos em junho Michael no Brasil, depois de tanto tempo sem estar aqui conosco. Isso significa que você vai ter acesso direto do criador da Neuro-Semântica, dois cursos extremamente valiosos. Vocês já viram que nós estamos falando sobre dois temas. Estamos falando sobre maestria do pensamento e resiliência. São esses os dois cursos que nós estamos trazendo agora em junho, do dia 23 ao dia 29. Na realidade, ao dia 28. E nós acrescentamos mais um diazinho aí, como um bônus, já que o Michael vem ao Brasil, para ele poder trazer para a gente uma nova abordagem também. Quais são as condições que nós estamos fazendo? E esse momento é um momento para você parar para pensar. O quanto seria valioso para você ter realmente uma estrutura um pouco mais concreta de resiliência? O quanto serviria para você na sua vida profissional ou pessoal você conseguir concretizar algumas metas que estão guardadas ou ter nas suas próprias mãos uma condição de sair dessa pressão que a gente citou aqui, que o Michael está falando? Eu acho que é interessante a gente já começar falando para você qual vai ser a grande vantagem de você estar com a gente nesses 2 dias. São 2 cursos de 3 dias cada. Nós temos pacotes que vão até o dia 20 de maio e até o dia 20 de junho. Se você quiser fazer só um curso, a gente está falando, vou olhar minha cola aqui, gente, a gente está falando de R$ 3.500, que você pode dividir em até 12 vezes pela plataforma. E para você fazer os 2 cursos, nós estamos falando de R$ 6.300, que você também pode dividir. As parcelas, se você quiser dividir, elas vão ficar em torno de 300 e poucos reais por mês ou 600 e poucos reais por mês. Esse curso vai ser em São Paulo, uma estrutura fantástica que a gente está criando para você, mas eu acho que, independente do lugar ou independente de estarmos muito dedicados com essa vinda do Michael depois da pandemia, eu queria trazer para você essa inquietação. Você já tentou realmente ser resiliente? Ou você já tentou realmente conseguir dominar os seus pensamentos para alcançar seus objetivos? Pois é, nesses 6 dias é o que a gente está oferecendo para você. Tem um monte de bônus, gente. Eu não vou tomar muito nosso tempo com isso. Você vai entrar em contato com a gente no curso grupo de WhatsApp, e a gente vai te passar todas as informações, desde um atendimento individual a uma palestra para a sua empresa. Então, é muita coisa que a gente está trazendo para falar assim, vem com a gente, vem organizar e trazer mais qualidade para os seus pensamentos. Léo?
Oi, André, é isso aí, pessoal. Não percam essa oportunidade. Realmente é uma oportunidade única, já que você está aqui conosco. Aproveite que a gente está beneficiando vocês e com certeza queremos que vocês estejam conosco, ok? André, muito agradecida. Eu vou voltar com o Michael agora para fazer mais duas perguntas aqui, viu? Estamos disponíveis no grupo para conversar com vocês e vamos colocar mais informações lá para vocês também, tá ok? Deixa eu só. Michael, I would like to ask Roberia. She has a question about the AI for you. Roberia, please, could you open your mic and talk with Michael?
Hello, Michael. Hello, Geraldine. Good to see you here. Okay. Some see AI as a challenge, even a threat. Would you say that those would benefit from developing resilience and mastering their thoughts to face this new era so they would be able to transform this challenge into opportunity?
Well, I'm not sure about what you're asking.
I guess it,
I-
can I jump
yeah.
in?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I guess she's asking if hey everybody. Sorry, I got late here. But I guess she's asking about if this resilience course will help people to deal with this new era of AI as a challenge, and some people regard AI as a threat even. So they might use a resilience and mastering their thoughts training to face this new phase of humanity. Is that a good use of the training?
Well, each person will have to decide on their own what setback or what threat that they want to deal with and bounce back from, or what problem they want to solve. So the training will not be addressing AI. It's addressing the structure of resilience and problem solving.
So it's AI and much more.
Yeah, well, for me personally, after attending these courses, it will enable a person to choose how to think about AI and how to
Yeah.
approach it in a way that it will be turned into an opportunity instead of a threat. Because whether
Yeah.
it's a threat or opportunity, it still depends on the kind of thinking that the person is doing. And
All
so
right.
what the training will do is for us to really be aware and know how we are thinking, and we can choose how to think, so that when we choose how to think, it enables us to choose how to respond to whatever is out there, whether it's a setback, whether it's this new technology.
With regard to AI, right now, it operates from your questions. Questions you ask it will determine the answer that you receive. And it answers it according to whatever knowledge base you have directed it to. So there are people who may take 100 books, give it to AI, and then ask questions about the information in those books. AI can only answer the questions you give it. If you give it stupid questions, you're going to get stupid answers. If you know how to ask intelligent questions, which is what NLP and the meta model is all about, asking intelligent questions, then you can get some intelligent answers. AI can be commissioned to solve a problem. If you give it a database and then say, here's the problem, and here's the criteria by which I want the problem solved, then it can look to providing you some answers to how to solve that particular problem. So AI is just a tool. It does not actually think. You and I are the thinkers, and the quality of our thinking will govern how we use that tool.
Michael, we have another question. I think this will be the last one because our time is is running. And if you don't mind, can I do that? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. This is the question. If leadership is developed hearts, if the leader has a great degree of resilience, developed a good level of self-knowledge, critical and executive thinking, but even though the environment and all the circumstances are not helping, people's minds are not open enough to accept new challenges. Could we consider repetition or insistence on that matter a way of breakthrough barriers?
I'm not sure how to answer that question. If I want someone to have an open mind, I need to have an open mind as I talk to them. If I have a closed mind, if I know what I know, and I'm not open to listening to them, then I'm not going to invite them into an open mind. This is where leaders have to go first. They have to listen, and they have to ask great questions. And then they can open a mind. How do you open a mind? By asking a great question. The human mind can resist every statement. No mind can resist a question. The human brain is wired to answer questions. So when leaders learn how to ask questions, they can lead more effectively. It's one of the paradoxes of leadership.
Thank you, Michael. This question was from Carla Rosa. Okay, now, Leonir, I think it's time to start our, to finish, yeah?
Yes, we have one more questions from Viviane. Maybe we can just read and maybe Michael could answer after and we send the answer to her. Okay, what do you think? Yes, can we? Yes.
Yeah.
So, good evening, Michael. In your view and experience, is it easier for a person to perform well and find their purpose when they maintain lifestyles with health and habits? Considering that resilience in this area is one of the greatest challenges for human beings. Okay, so I let these questions and send to you, Michael, and there is one other one, and you can answer, and I send the answer to her. Okay, Inês, could you finish?
Okay. First of all, I'd like to thank you, Michael and Geraldine, for being all this long with our people here, answering questions and showing your face, who you are. That's what we want. You want to hear in Brazil. And I hope most of the people, many people from here, are going to see you again in person in June. Thank you so much. This is a great opportunity. I think was the first opportunity for Brazilians to have this open Zoom room with Michael Hall and Geraldine. And you enjoyed being with us as much as we are having this pleasure with your presence. Thank you so much.
It's our pleasure as well. Thank you, and we're looking forward to seeing you.
See.
Just a moment, we want to do a photo.
Okay.
Please open your. Oh, let me. Okay. Everybody, okay? So let's go. That's okay. One more to. Just a moment. Yes. Okay. So thank you so much. Have a good night. And let me speak in Portuguese now.
Thank you.
Ok. Pessoal, muito agradecida pela presença de vocês. Foi uma honra, um prazer e vamos continuar conversando. Um grande abraço para todos vocês, uma excelente noite, uma excelente semana. Até mais.
Até mais. Thank you.
Gratidão, Leodir. Gratidão, Inês.
Thank
Agradecido,
you.
Michael.
Bye. Thank
Valeu.
you.
Valeu. Thank you, Roverian. Bye,
Thank you.
bye.
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 Thank you.
Bom te ver, Rodrigo.
Santiago,
Bom te
seja
ver, Rodrigo.
bem-vindo.
Valeu, até mais. Agradecida.
Ronald,
Ronald está
grande
aqui.
abraço, Carla, felicidade. Coutinho,
Coutinho.
abraço.
Ah,
Professor
Coutinho.
Rogério,
Aqui, que legal.
lindo.